Welcome to Season 3 of the Casual Camping Podcast, your home for the best camping discussion both in and out of the field. Here are your hosts, Tim and Ade.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Casual Camping Podcast. Thank you very much for the loan of your dirty little ear holes. I'm Tim.
And I'm Ade. Are we sure that they're dirty?
Our listeners, they're filthy.
Bit Sid James there.
Yeah.
Well,
this episode is just for all of those dirty little casual campers because this is our Only Pans episode.
Only Pans. Is this after hours, Tim?
This is after hours. I'm currently sat in a slinky negligee, and if somebody gives us $10 really quickly, I might put more clothes on.
People being sick around the world, Tim. No. No. Say, nobody needed that image.
Oh, God.
I mean, I've seen you struggling to get out of a hammock, so, you know.
Oh, God. No, that was like being stuck in a giant bra and I couldn't get out. Or was that just a dream?
I think it might have been. So, you could tell last week that we'd not spoken for a while because our snappy 30, 40-minute kind of podcast time that we'd said the week before didn't actually happen. And we went on for an hour and 9 minutes.
I know.
See what happens when we don't talk?
I know. Blow my neck. We've kind of touched base a bit this week, so hopefully, listeners, this will be a one journey podcast, not a two journey podcast for you.
Yes. And what are, pray tell, we talking about this week, Tim?
We are talking about Only Pans. So we're not talking about our premium subscription site that doesn't exist. We're talking about pots and pans. What you're cooking on.
What you're cooking on. Oh, sounds great. I don't know about you, but I sometimes find myself very limited to, because I've got a stove and a pan that goes with the stove, that I cook the same sort of things when I go away. Sometimes those kind of cooking systems or what have you limit me. You know, I've heard, climbers and people going up the mountain saying they get sick of the rehydrated food that you get with that and want to experiment a little bit more. And I think that over the years, sometimes I've been limited to, or my imagination maybe has just been a little bit limited rather than experimenting with stuff, which I think over the last year we seem to have experimented quite a bit with different cooking styles, different foods.
Absolutely, and I think you're right. You do get kind of stuck in a rut with certain camping meals, and it is, what you're cooking is often, certainly for me, ruled by what I'm cooking in, and absolutely you kind of get stuck in that rut. I had like the Jetboil PCS system, personal cooking system, for years, but that was really good at boiling water, so you couldn't really cook in it. So you kind of did those rehydrated meals. I then did get Jetboil did a larger pan that you could get a pot stand that would go on the PCS burner, which made it a bit better to try and cook food. But it was still just the Jetboil. It didn't have a regulator on it, so it was an all or nothing, and it was designed to boil water really fast. It wasn't designed to simmer a curry or anything like that. And although I tried to cook those things in that bigger pot,
Yeah.
the burner just wasn't designed for it. So I kind of gave up on doing stuff like that and kind of went backwards to cooking the meals that I had before. It
Yeah, so similarly, for years, I had the MSR reactor
mm,
stove, and absolutely, hands down, the fastest boil time out there, I think. Um, yeah, you're looking at me quizzically there, but
well,
you know,
I remember we did do long before this podcast existed, listeners. We did do a speed test, didn't we, on a boil
yeah,
test with the Jetboil PCS and the MSR reactor, and I think you did pit me by it was only a few seconds. It might have been
few seconds,
10
yeah.
seconds at most, but yeah, you did pit me.
I think it's a bigger element, and whether or not it uses
You got a bigger
more.
element.
I was in that element.
That's just weird. So, about the pans.
About the pans. So I think that's the thing for me, that just have it, because we're all about the gear and we love the gear, but sometimes you've got to think a little bit outside. And certainly if you're cooking food and you want to try something different, that maybe starts with what you're cooking on.
Mm,
And it also starts with not doing like a last minute shop at the
the pet.
supermarket for the food.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah. We are camping. I mean, this episode will go out on Friday. I'll have already been in a field 24 hours by the time this episode goes out.
whoop, 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 whoop.
I at start of the week I did a meal planner. So what are we having for breakfast, for lunch, for tea? What are we doing each day? What are the
What we're
snacks?
having?
Well, the best meal's on Thursday night when no one else is going to be there.
As it should be. Um, yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Being well planned and stuff, but
Mm.
try not to be limited to the pans that you've got.
Well, when I first started camping, I just took pans from home, which is the worst thing you can do because they're great big heavy pans with massive thick bases on them, and they
mhm,
use up all your gas just to try and get warm. But it was
yeah.
all I had, and it worked, and I got to cook food, and
Yep.
actually, I also cooked food I ate at home, so I lost most of my gas in boiling dried pasta in
Yep.
boiling a big pan of water to try and get some pasta cooked because I was trying to make a bolognese and was just kind of getting it all a bit backwards and everything else. But it got me
You
camping.
learn a lot
I
doing
did,
that, eh?
yeah, I did learn a lot. I learned I needed either some decent pans that were meant for the purpose or to take 3 times as much gas.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we've all been there with going through the kitchen cupboards and going, "Oh, I'll take that, I'll take that, I'll take
Yeah,
that."
yeah.
And some things are fit for it, but how many pans did you ruin because in the end you ran out of gas and you put them on the fire?
Yeah, that has happened more than once. That has definitely happened more than
Yeah,
once. Yeah.
yeah, and you just can't get those fire scorch marks out, can you?
No, no,
Yeah.
no,
So,
no.
what are the pans you have at the minute?
Oh God, this is the thing. I've packed for this camping trip, and I've realised actually I've packed two sets of pans that I don't need. So after recording this, I got to go downstairs and change some of me setup. But I've got obviously my latest acquisition is the Jetboil Genesis, which has a massive 5 litre pan for proper base camp cooking and a huge massive frying pan so I can properly cook
Yeah,
out in the field. I am taking that this weekend, so I don't need my other pans, which I have packed in as well. So I've got a set of Stanley pans, which are stainless steel. Stainless steel. There's a 2.5 litre pan, and then there's a stainless steel skillet as well. And I bought those. I bought those when I bought the tent stove, the wood burning stove that goes in the tent,
Yeah.
because my pans prior to that had a heat exchanger on the base, and
Yeah.
one of those waffle things that goes round it. And I couldn't use that on the tent stove. It never got
Yeah.
hot because the heat exchanger is designed to capture heat from a gas burner and transfer it into the pan. It's not designed to take heat from a tent direct from a tent stove and
Yeah.
transfer it in. So I couldn't cook. Where I had massive failure in trying to cook food on one camp. The first camp I
Yeah.
went with the tent stove. So I switched over to the Stanley pans because they're just a hard base and they're quite a thick base. Not as thick as your pans at home, but not far off. And they just sit directly on top of the tent stove. So they're
Yeah.
perfect for that. But they're great for winter camping when I'm just going to be in the tent quite a lot, cooking directly on the stove. I'm not going to be doing that this weekend. I'm taking a table. I'm going to have the setup outside. So I'm taking the big Jetball Genesis, which also has a heat exchanger underneath because Jetball pioneered that technology. And but yeah, that's kind of my setup. I did also for the tent stove have a cast steel skillet that was de Beer or de Boer, don't know how you pronounce it.
The
It's
buyer.
oh well, there you go. It's you say de Beer. Oh, we can't sing, can we? We can't sing, and we're not allowed to sing. Um, I had that for the tent stove as well because again, it was a really good skillet to just sit on the tent stove.
Yeah.
But I've given that to you more recently because you use those in the house.
They're in the house and they are smashing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but for me, I don't know why I have, but I've got an aversion to aluminium pans.
Hmm.
I don't know what it is. I've not seen any kind of medical kind of report kind of thing, but I just don't like just because the aluminium is quite a soft pan and therefore to heat up. And I know that, in most restaurants they're using aluminium and stuff like that. I don't eat out that much, but aluminium just seems to be a very soft metal to be cooking on. And I watched Dark Waters with Mark Ruffalo a while
Mm,
ago, and
good
through
film.
all my, yeah, really good film. Up to date reference, Tim,
I know,
almost.
blooming heck.
I know. But came away from non-stick then as well and just like, no, I don't want it. So carbon steel and cast iron is now my more favorite thing. Um, one, they can be non-stick if you
Mm,
season them well.
yeah.
You clean them okay, stuff like that. So that Dubai pan that you got me is absolutely the best non-stick pan I've ever had. Really, really good.
I did try and look after it. It probably
Yeah,
wasn't as clean as you got, but I tried not to wash it too much and tried to keep sort of the seasoning on it really. It was a great pan out in the field.
yeah,
I've just pivoted and I've changed kind of my cookware setup. So and mainly because it's so bloody heavy, is that it's a really
yeah,
heavy pan and it's got a massive long handle and it's a thing of
yeah,
beauty. You'll have to take some pictures of it and put it on socials this week. But it was just so heavy and took up a lot of space when
yeah,
I was in all the camping stuff, and I changed my camping boxes to the flight boxes, and there was no way that it was ever going to fit in there, but the Stanley ones do fit in there, so it's kind of convenience
yeah.
really. But it's a brilliant pan, absolutely brilliant pan.
Yeah, and so I've got that. We've used it to cook lamb, the not your Dubai one, but my other set of pans, which is a Madog Outdoors,
Mm.
Welsh name that. Yeah,
That,
MADDOG Outdoors, Madog Outdoors, carbon steel pans. They do a frying pan, which also turns into the lid for the other pan. So they do a set of three, and they do now a 12-inch frying pan as well. And it's just a brilliant set.
Mm. It's really
It comes,
it's really beautiful as well, though.
yeah,
It's one of those really lovely designed pieces of outdoor kit that you
yeah.
just you just recognize and you go, that's really pretty. It's
It's
something different.
really weird. Carbon steel, when it's not been seasoned, is almost white when it turns up.
Oh,
So
weird.
turns up, and then they tell you how to season it. So you do it with either some of their specific seasoning or olive oil or something like that that you wipe around and put it in the oven for an hour, and then do a second and a third
Hmm.
kind of repeat. And then it goes darker, and that's where the non-stick comes in. And you've got to keep up with those things.
Hmm.
But, those are pans there for the outdoors. I've just recently got a bail handle for the big pot so
Hmm.
that I can hang it over the tripod. And I think that's the thing, that I've got pans that I don't mind the scorch marks on them because they're outdoor pans.
Yeah.
I keep, when I come back, I've also got a cast iron griddle plate in my Snow Peak
Hmm.
thing. That I bring back, I wash it up, and then I reseason it so that, it keeps that non-stick. Sometimes you can't just sort of go, oh, I hope it's going to be non-stick all the time. But I was just sick to death of having uh, griddles or those wire meshes for barbecues that
Hmm.
just look beautiful the first time you use them, then start to go a little bit rusty, and and they
Yeah.
just, they never look as good ever again.
No.
And you're always a little bit nervous to put food on them. So I decided that actually cast iron griddles were better. Snow Peak do a lovely one, which I have got.
Of course they do.
Of course they
You
do.
could have bought that for £20 off Amazon,
Yeah.
but no.
But that's the other thing, that some of those things that I'm now cooking, I've gone more to the fire. I do use
Hmm.
them on frying pans on a morning and stuff like that. But actually, my gas stoves, once again, have just come back round to being more for boiling water.
Hmm. No, that's interesting. Me, the same really. So I do a lot of cooking on the fire pit. So
Me
I
the same. Tim eats meat.
That's yeah. I don't. I was going to make an inappropriate joke. I won't. Ah, you're showing me your kettle.
So my new,
That's not a euphemism.
not a euphemism, my new copper kettle, which is a 1920s or 30s kind of thing that I found on eBay, and got it for quite a bargain, and was a little bit pernickety about, oh, well, actually, what's it had in it.
Hmm.
So looked at how to clean those things. There's some really good retro things on there. And one thing I didn't know, copper is naturally antibacterial.
Yes, it is.
Which is why a lot of the older stations in the underground in London have copper banisters, so that,
Old
obviously.
old hospitals used to have silver doorknobs and push plates because silver is also antibacterial, antimicrobial, as they call it now. And
Yeah,
a lot of the old hospitals that don't exist anymore, they were obviously wealthier back then, and they put silver on to try and
yeah.
kill the bugs. But no, cool.
So I bought this, and because I've got a thing for like coffee pots and kettles and stuff. I've got, this thing at the minute. So I've been going a bit more retro with those and cleaned it thoroughly. Apparently, if you boil it with bicarb and lemon, gets
Mm,
rid of any of the furriness within the kettle. Made a cup of tea afterwards. It was perfect. It was lovely. So I was like,
brilliant.
brilliant. I'm really happy with that. Um,
See,
But that's the thing.
a kettle is
Huh?
the one thing I've never bought for camping. I've never owned
Always
a
do it
camp.
in a pan.
Always do it
Always
in a
doing
pan.
it, yeah, jet
Yeah,
boil and
in the
stuff.
jet boil. It's even now with my little coffee setup,
Yeah.
I'll grind the beans and everything else. I've specifically bought a little tiny pan that fits in the box in my coffee kit
Yeah, it's a
box,
beautiful pan, is that?
and it's lovely. And but it's still just a pan. It's not a little kettle. I've
Yeah.
never owned a camping kettle.
Yeah. And I've got an MSR titanium one, and
Yeah,
that's been my go-to one. That was a £5 charity shop bargain.
absolute bargain. Blimey heck.
Absolute barney. So and they do a few different sizes in that one. It's an MSR, yeah, Thai, whatever it is. And
Hmm.
I've been using that more to do boiling my water. And like I say, I've just got this sort of retro kind of thing because there's something about camping for me that takes you back to, yeah, it's just it's more retro. It's coming away from some of the technology, and I think it's slowing down everything. It's actually waiting for a kettle to boil, or
Yeah,
just where I've got a tent stove, and I'm almost imagining just getting up on a morning and putting the stove on and getting the kettle going, and then making a cup of tea and just starting the day slowly and
yeah.
peacefully. I think that's yeah, that
I like the sound of that, Aid. I really like the
yeah,
sound of that.
yeah.
It's been a busy old week for both of us,
Mm.
and the week's it's only Tuesday, and
Uh, yeah,
I can't wait to be camping because I just need to switch off.
yeah.
I need to sit down in a field and switch off and just listen to the birds. And wait for you to boil a kettle.
Well, so I did. I mean, we're still talking about pans. I did buy a very big kettle, but the spout is all cracked.
Ah,
So yeah, I've been figuring out how you fix these old kettles
mm.
because normally solder's got a lot of lead in it, so you can't use that. So silver solder with flux comes in little syringes.
Oh.
Yeah, and then you just heat it up, and it's non-toxic, has a higher boiling point. So a lot of older retro kettles that are leaking is because somebody's allowed them to boil dry, and the solder then
Oh
melts.
gosh. Oh gosh. Wow.
So yeah, so it's been an interesting thing. So I was like, yeah, okay, I know how to fix. I can fix that. I've got a blowtorch.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey.
there's a
I
reference to last week.
I was about to say, will you use your blowtorch for that, Ed?
I will. I will use my blowtorch.
Oh,
Yeah, I've not decided. Well, actually, my new one, I think I would use because it's got a more pointy flame.
cool. Cool.
Um, but yeah, so yeah, I'm going to have a play with that, and
Mm.
then make sure that the inside of the kettle is clean because you
Mm.
never know. But yeah,
You
once
never.
again, that's a copper. There's a big teapot kind of uh, thing. It's silver on the outside, but where I've scrubbed it because it was a bit rusty in places, actually copper comes through.
Oh
So
wow.
once again, copper is obviously very good for conducting heat as well.
Mm. Mm.
So yeah, yeah.
Proper copper kettle.
But it looks silver because they've chromed it, but
Mm.
I've cleaned it up. It was a antique shop bargain for £9.50. So
Blooming heck. Blooming heck. And that's the big one you say. Is that like a three
yeah,
liter or something or 5 liter?
yeah, might be even more, but I've got to fix the spout before I can clean it inside. So
Cool.
I
Fun.
yeah,
I
I like fixing stuff up, but
mm,
yeah,
I've got a something I've been wanting to do for years and years, but somehow not really been brave enough until kind of you gave it a bit of a go. is cast iron pans and Dutch
Mm,
ovens, and I've always kind of wanted one. Got a gifted one second hand,
mm.
and when we were away earlier in the year, we did cook a leg of lamb in it, and it was absolutely brilliant. I just love the fact that it's such simplistic cooking with it.
Mm,
It's so much easier than you think, and like you say, it's kind of stepping backwards a little bit and slowing everything down. So yes, it might take you 2.5, 3 hours to cook a leg of lamb in it, but you've done nothing other than set that up and put it on the fire and
yeah.
put coals on it, and
Go
then
and
you
check that the heat is fine, and
yeah.
yeah.
There's no other messing or anything, which is it's just a lovely way to cook,
Yeah.
and just let the pot do the cooking basically. Don't mess with it. Don't let the heat out of it. Just get it in there where the heat is. Keep a check on it to make sure it's staying nice and hot and you've got coals on it. But literally then just leave it alone, and
Yeah.
it's a great simplistic way to cook, out
Yeah.
camping.
Yeah, and
I
I
love
would
it. I really
say,
love it.
I would say, similar to you, I was very nervous of cast iron and those kind of things because I was thinking, well, they're very heavy to take, and yet, we are car campers
Mm,
99% of the time, I think. So weight isn't something that we should really bother about. But I was nervous about cast iron. It's one of those things, we talk about retro before. Cast iron's the ultimate retro kind of thing.
yeah.
They've been cooking on it for 200 or 300 years. I see a guy on Instagram who is restoring lots of American ones that are like 100, 150 years old. And he's
Wow.
just they're perfect once he puts them in a live bath, takes off all the build up that gets on them and puts them back to being original. Because actually, that's the thing. There's nothing that goes wrong with them.
Mm,
It's just knowing and understanding how to cook with them. And there's loads of videos on YouTube about it, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. Even, people are a little bit funny about how you wash them up. And I've even seen videos where people say, actually just as long as you're not seeping them in washing up liquid overnight, a
mm,
quick wash with them won't change the flavor at all. But mostly, I mean, what we've done is just pour water in while it's still hot
yeah.
and bubble it away and let it lift anything off. And then when you're home, you just re-season it.
Mm,
Stick it in the oven for an hour and stuff. Give it a good scrub and stick it in the oven with some oil on it. Re-seasons it up back to brand
hmm.
new.
Yeah.
So, and
I
once again, it's a slower way of doing things, but the weight of a cast iron lid on a cast iron pot is almost like a pressure cooker.
yeah, it really is. It seals all that heat in, but seals all that
Yeah.
moisture in as well, all of that steam, and really cooks stuff. What I want to do next is like some proper stews in it,
Mm.
proper meat and two veg stew, big beef stew, and some dumplings, and just let that simmer over a fire for ages and ages till that meat's really tender and just falls to pieces. That's what I want
Yeah.
to do next.
Nice beef and ale stew.
Oh, yes, yes. Some
Yeah.
potatoes in it, some veg. It's I'm just sorry, see, I'm salivating and choking at the same time. I
Your saliva trying to kill you. Mine is.
I hope not. Not live on the show anyway. It's
Yeah.
but it's funny how that journey's kind of taken you from, or certainly taken me from just using the pans at home to then using a bit more sort of pro fast and light stuff, and then realizing I can't really cook proper meals on that and switching
Mm.
around. Um, and now I'm kind of switching again, and well, I've kind of got a bit of a happy balance really. I've with the Jetboil Genesis, I've got this absolutely superb cutting edge technology twin burner that's brilliant because
Yeah.
it's so economical with its gas. I've used it on 2 full camping trips. Still got half a thing of gas that I started with. It's that economical with its gas. It's brilliant. Um, but then I've got the other side, the flip side, which is the Dutch oven that I'm just starting to play with and starting to get going with, which is it's really really slow, and it's an age old
Mm,
form of cooking, and but I love both sides really.
yeah.
It's
Well, it's been adaptable, isn't it? Like if you were walking from one place to another, you'd have minimal stuff with
yeah.
you and you'd be rehydrating things, or you'd be having burgers or whatever it is, and you'd be cooking over the fire so that actually you might not be taking pots and pans with you.
Mm,
That's the other thing. Um, but actually, if you're car camping, then it is about relaxing and taking your time and thinking about those things. Food. It's all part of it. And I think it is going back to what people used to do, how they used to do it. And taking that time. I guess if you like cooking or whatever, I quite like the social aspect to feeding people.
mm,
Group camping is my favorite type thing because it's getting back with people that we've not caught up with. I get to
yeah.
play with all my gear, and so cooking is some of that. Sometimes it's just drinking, but
You got to eat at some point. You have got to eat at some point. It's
yeah,
I think some of what you're saying, sort of stepping back and slowing down, it makes me think of some of the things we saw at last year's bushcraft show, and we got to give them a shout out. It's some of our listeners will be driving to the bushcraft show this morning when this
mm,
episode's gone out live, and there's some great people there and some fantastic things to see. Um, a lot of interesting ways of cooking over open fires, and people have
yeah,
some quite incredible campfire cooking setups that I hadn't seen anywhere else. So if you are going to the bushcraft show, have a great time. Make sure you wander around the camp.
yeah,
Have a look at other people's setups. Don't just go and look at the stalls and all the
yeah,
the speakers and everything else. They're great. Do all of that, but go and walk around the camp and look at how everyone else is camping. Go into the woods and look how people are cooking there. There's people in there who were burying food in hot pits and coming back
yeah,
to it later. There was just so much that you won't see anywhere else, and it's very much speaking to what you're talking about of slowing things down and stepping back a little bit, and some of those not primitive skills but just sort of age old skills that we
mm,
in life we just seem so quick to be racing away from, and actually you don't need to just slow everything down. Everyone, we're
yeah,
camping, we're chilling out.
yeah, definitely. Is there any shout outs this week, Tim?
No, we used them all last week.
Oh, bugger.
we
I've
just
got one.
Have you? Oh my God. Go on then.
Yeah. Well, so wait on, let me
You can't find it, can you?
no, I can't. Oh, from Mr. Richard Gallagher. Here we go. The new episode was out. Honestly, I look forward to this every week. So, Richard, cheers for listening, buddy.
Surely that would be Rich as.
Richard.
Rich as.
I see.
Oh,
But yeah.
I did have
Oh, there was a follow up as well. He said, to be honest, I like the chat. Listening to you and Tim is like putting on a new pair of expensive socks.
I love that. I love that. We are like an expensive pair of socks. Hopefully they're fresh and not
Yours might be, mine certainly won't be.
Oh God.
Camping for 3 nights this week. How many showers will I have, Tim?
No showers. How many pairs of pants will you bring, Ed?
Well,
You
I
stop
always bring.
you stop in 3 nights.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah,
Oh God, I didn't think you were doing the Sunday.
yeah,
Oh man. Oh,
yeah.
I'm gonna have to phone Tom.
Why?
He's doing breakfast burritos. I told him there was probably only going to be me and Alex left.
Oh. Um. Yes. Well, we can sort this out off air. But
Yes,
yeah.
we can. We can. It's so yes, should we jump sideways into a minute mindfulness?
Yeah. Okay.
Welcome to the Casual Camping Minute Mindfulness. Let the sounds of nature take you back to the camping field.
Ah, I love them. I love them. I think that's another one from your trip to Devon.
Well, Devon, I miss you. Actually, I love all parts of the UK. I love all
Yeah.
parts of the world. There's so much of the world that I've not seen and would dearly love to.
I've been really lucky in my life because I'm not that old, although I am getting significantly older in a few days' time. I've travelled quite a lot really. I've seen a lot of
Mm,
countries, but I bloody love the UK. It's beautiful. It's
yeah,
beautiful, particularly when the sun's shining. It is beautiful. It's got some beautiful bits of countryside. Devon is beautiful.
yeah,
Northumberland, where we're camping this weekend, is just a beautiful place that I've wanted to go camping for years and years and years. It's got massive beaches. It's got huge castles. It's got. I want to go to Lindisfarne, which was the first place that the Vikings attacked when they first came across and attacked the UK. And it's just lots of history up there, and it's
yeah.
really rugged landscape. It's and there's less people. It's less crowded. So I'm itching to go. I've got one more day at work. I've got to work tomorrow, and then I'm off, and I don't go back to work for a week. So I got 5 nights in a field. I am so ready for it. I tell you.
Yeah, well, I have been loving the socials this week of everybody sending in what they're doing, where they're at.
Mm.
Really, really thanks to everybody that's taking part in that. Send us your pictures. It inspires us, it inspires other people, and I love the conversations that are going on. So, yeah, absolutely well done to everybody.
Yeah, yeah. So if you're new to the show, we've got social media accounts as well. So search for Casual Camping Podcast wherever you're on social media. We are predominantly on Instagram and Facebook, and we've got a very active Facebook group, also called Casual Camping Podcast. And there's a live chat in there that goes off like you wouldn't believe, which is great. If and wherever you're listening to this on whatever app or service streaming service that you're listening to, just take 2 seconds at the end just to give us 5 stars. It really helps get the show seen by more people, and we were really trying to grow the show. If you've got 5 minutes, just give us a 5-star review, would be brilliant. And if you want to shout out on the show, get in touch with us on our social media accounts, and we'll give you a shout out.
Yeah. Subscribe as well.
Oh yes, subscribe.
Subscribe. It's what we, well, it just helps us feel loved. We're needy little buggers, me and Tim.
I I tell you what, though, in return, if anybody wants some stickers, just send us a direct message with your address, your name and address on, and we'll send some stickers out to you. I've got stickers going out again to the US and to Australia this week. So,
Any going to the North or South Pole, Tim?
no,
Not
sadly,
yet.
not yet,
Right.
not yet. You know what I might do? I might just send some to the South Pole with a little card and just say, "Please, could somebody listen to this?" And take a photo and send it to us because it's the only continent we haven't got listeners on. I am going to do that. I'm going to send it to McMurdo Station or wherever it is in the South Pole and
Yeah.
see if we can get a listener.
See if we can get a penguin with a casual camper sticker on it. It's not what they're there for, is it?
No, it's not what they're there for. I don't think you can brand up penguins. That's probably not. It's probably not ethical.
You reckon the people that are out there and stuff pick up a penguin and go, "Look, I picked up a penguin."
There's a very small number of people who will know what you're talking about.
I know, but you got to do it, haven't you? Like,
Gotta do it. Oh god! In the UK years ago, there's a chocolate bar with a biscuit in it called a penguin, and the advert was "pick up a penguin."
Yep.
It was
What
funny.
you're talking about years ago, they're still going now, and
Are
in
they?
some circles, I have the nickname penguin.
Do you?
I do. It was based around the chocolate bar. I went to play football one afternoon, and as a halftime kind of snack, I had some penguins which I offered out, and the name just stuck. Penguin.
Could have been worse. Could have been worse.
I mean, it so could have been.
The mind boggles with the names of some chocolate bars. It could have been much worse. Oh god! And on that bizarre bombshell, we're gonna keep this one short and sweet because we did too much last time. So I've got more packing to do. So I'm going to say good night from me.
And I'm going to say arrivederci.
Thanks, Mario.
Casual Camping Podcast accepts no liability and does not officially recommend any products or endorse any techniques discussed in an individual podcast episode or shown on Casual Camping Podcast social media accounts. Individuals should make their own informed decision and risk assessment of any products or advice prior to any purchase or use.